say hello to everybody here, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests. I'm part of the United Nations Envoy. Water security is my main goal. I basically look at what each organization is doing on the ground level, what the ministries are doing, what the people are doing, and taking that information back to the UN and allowing the UN to do an assessment, basically, regarding what type of funding, what type of help Pakistan needs on the ground. And what are you as individuals doing in order to complete the sustainability goals that the UN, the Paris Climate Agreement has set goals for Pakistan to meet by 2025, end of this year. Those goals were signed by the president in 2017. So basically, what am I doing currently right now? I'm representing SGS as one of their lead auditors for 14,001 EMS, Environmental Management Studies, primarily to decrease the basically decrease our carbon output at Lahore University. What is ISO basically? You can take a look in here. It's the International Organization of Standards, an independent non-governmental agency that sets standards across the planet in reduction of waste and common household goods that you guys see, and setting standards across the board for pharmaceutical, every single sector that you can think of is now going to be monitored. National Steering Committee. Basically, there should be a ISO committee sitting inside of the ministry, watching every single department, how much carbon dioxide is every single sector making. During that planning of high-level ministry development should then be implemented through down the chain of command. And ISO is basically a fingerprint, a blueprint for you guys to basically follow in order to meet the goals that the NGOs have set and the United Nations have set. If you basically look at what's happening in California right now, California is burning completely to the ground, and that's because of climate change. California actually has some of the most stringent EPA rules in the world. As of 2025, there will be no combustion engines sold in the state of California. By 2030, we expect the United States not to sell any more combustion engines, period. We will move to a complete electric grid. Now in Pakistan, I've only seen a handful of electric chargers, but I've seen a lot of motorcycles going through that are being electrified, right? So the University of Lahore is actually stepping forward and supplying, actually going to supply free energy for kids that are coming in on electric vehicles to eliminate some of the carbon pollution that we bring in with our students. Our vans will eventually be converted over to complete electric, or maybe even either electric, or they're probably going to be hydrogen powered. We don't know yet. It's still up in the air. Step 3, basically, here's a roadmap basically for standardization. You will actually need an ISO 9001 and 14001 individual working at your location, doing a short-term 1 to 2 years, or even a midterm, 3 to 5 year term long goals that you guys have set, and basically identify those goals and come in and audit those goals. Have you met those goals? Have you exceeded those goals? Where do you stand in those goals? ISO implementation and the pilot programs that are released in Pakistan have to be backed up by the ministry. I mean, you guys cannot go and say that I did an ISO project basically in your own institution unless it's accredited by a big agency like Verda or SGS is another example. There's many other companies out there that will do the certifications.
Do we get kind of benefits after getting from the certification from ISO?
Yes, UNDP is working directly with ISO certified individuals. You cannot actually, like let's say carbon sequencing is being done right here. This great initiative that Marine has done, Synergy has done, will eventually go to the UN. These type of projects of making green carbon credits has to be audited by an ISO individual in the 14,001 or 9,001. They have to be audited. They have to be SGS certified. to bring those credits to bear.
Like if we talk about a particular project where we are actually foresting a lot of area, we are going to do. So what kind of benefits we can get from?
That's a beautiful question. I'm going to give you some examples. There's a Shaw Foundation that's doing the exact same thing as Green. They have actually done roughly 4 to 6 hectares of land with the complete Milwaukee forest. So far, they have donated 1.4 million trees, and those 1.4 million trees have been donated for free to all agencies across the board, even private, public, anybody that wants to come get a tree from us. We're giving you basically the original trees that were either extinct or chopped down for apparent reasons. We're trying to bring back the old flora and fauna that was native here, because in the last 10 years, the agriculture department has not stepped up and said that this type of product cannot be grown here. This is an invasive species, for example, and it's a free man's world right now. Most of the products that we have tested, like fruits and vegetables, don't even pass PCSIR testing for human consumables. So that means your tomato, your butter, your rice. I mean, only a certain portion, 10%, 20%, is able to be exported out. If you have an ISO individual, benchmarking, scheduling, auditing, giving back mechanisms back to the agency or back to the government itself, this will help you guys streamline not only your cost, for example, you can get more out of the land, the burning and the other things that you basically are doing here in Pakistan to destroy the land will basically stop automatically. But we need to give you guys the tools. What happens is that most of these individuals that are doing your agriculture or your backbone of your society are not educated. The education portion is missing. So the next generation of kids that are sitting in this room, you guys will have to step up your game. Because if the farmers of this generation disappear, can you guys grow tomatoes at home? How many people here have even grown a tomato? 2 people. Those 2 people will survive in the next 10 years.
And both the women.
Yeah. So these are small initiatives that everybody must take, and I really recommend highly you guys take these initiatives. Like, I live in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan has one of the largest urban farming projects in the world. Meaning, I'll give you one little tidbit. If you own a little plot of land and you know right next door there's nothing there, nobody's going to move there for the next year. What I would do is put a bunch of plants in pots for different types of vegetables, fruits, whatever it is, allow them to grow, and if the individual ends up making his plot there or ends up making his home there, so be it. At least you got 1 year of fruits and vegetables out of that plot. On the average, in Detroit, we make roughly about 10,000 USD off of 1 acre of land of free money. Then the government gives us another 10,000 for subsidies. So if you're planning to do some type of vegetable gardening, you got a $10,000 check every year from the government just to do something next door. Plant some trees. Give those trees out to your local community. Definitely plant some fruit trees. Just imagine if you, let's say for example, Canal Road, right? We have not one fruit tree on that whole street, but we have about 100,000 beggars, right? 100,000 people begging. Those people are begging for 10 rupees, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, and it's constant. But if we gave them the opportunity to pick their own food, do this, go out there and grab your own, whatever it is, free tomatoes, free garlic, free onions, they would make their own food and you would not see them on the corner of the road begging for food.
On Canal Road, there are a lot of jamun trees and falsa plantation is there.
See, if they're there, they should be harvested and given away for free.
Yes.
That's how you help the community. You guys got to be the catalyst. The government cannot help everybody. The government doesn't have the capability of helping everybody. They can't help themselves. It's you guys that are going to make the change. The older individuals that are sitting here, you guys got to get your kids moving. I'm being real serious. Because their life expectancy, your guys' life expectancy here in Pakistan is that you're losing 10 years every year of your life expectancy breathing this type of air. Because the UN has monitored the ppm is actually above 2,000 in certain areas here. And we have declared that a state of emergency. So they're calling this ground zero with India. You guys are actually in what they call a silent war. If ISO was actually implemented across the board, your GDP here would increase between 1 to 2% annually, but I would say even up to 5% because of the amount how Pakistanis I've seen move, how they are emotionally involved with their country, they feel, they know, they're aware. We can move this country at a higher GDP level if we started standardizing everything. Like for example, I've noticed that in Lahore, every house has a water tank on top of their home, right? So when the water tank goes empty, you guys either click on a button and it fills that water tank, and then when the one is filled, you guys click it off. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people here have an automatic on and off switch or a valve that turns it off automatically when it's full? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now that should be mandatory for every single tank on every single roof. That comes onto the ministry. Somebody coming in and checking. Do you have one of these shut-off valves? Is it working? Because majority of the homes that I go to visit, that thing is still running. We're having dinner, water's coming on both sides of the homes, and then the person wonders, like, tank empty up. No, that's not how it should be done. Because in America, let's say 1 16-ounce bottle of water is $4. So let's say if we brought those prices here, it would be unsustainable. You guys could not. That would be the most expensive thing that you guys would buy per day would be water, because the average person needs 1 gallon of water per day. This would also create millions of new jobs, millions of new areas. Like one throwaway plastic, like the water bottles that you guys throw away. If anybody open up a company to recycle that one waste product, turned it back into PET pellets, and then extruded it out to some type of a good, like a chair, you guys would make just a whole new industry. I mean, in Michigan, for every bottled water you bring back, like that one right there, the Nestle bottle, you would get 10 cents. That's what we give back to the people for initiatives to bring their plastic, their aluminum back in, their paper back in. We pay them by the pound. And that is turned around and put into a sustainability project. This option of becoming an ISO certified individual opens you guys up to basically every single area in the world. It allows you to become basically the top individuals to be able to talk to in this field. Once you become certified, it kind of opens your eyes up to what the world is doing and what we have to basically maintain and where we need to go. But look at Pakistan. Look at India, your neighbor. 98% of everything that comes out of India is ISO certified. So everything that comes out of Pakistan is probably 40%, maybe 30% of the products that come out of Pakistan are ISO certified. And only maybe 10% to 12% of the facilities here are certified by ISO. I mean, we're about 20 years behind here. That's realistic. The fact that many other countries around the world, I'm going to point a finger right at, let's see, right, Iran. You see guys where Iran is? That's a desert. Iran still has exports. Iran has a lot of exports. The United States has put many different sanctions on the country, but yet they still have a huge market. Why? Because they already know that everything that comes out of their country has to be ISO certified in order to still be in the international market. That's one way Pakistan can bypass a lot of red tape that needs to be actually put into place, or the government is a little bit behind the wheel of actually implementing ISO certifications in that field. Will either push that forward quite a bit, or allow you guys to basically bypass even the federal ministries in a lot of different cases.
There actually, government can actually take this initiative, and individual actually cannot do anything on that.
You know what? Once you become an ISO certified individual, you actually have a stronger position in the government. Because now the government still has to follow international rules. You're the individual that's saying, hey, this pipe has to be at this diameter, this has to be this length, this has to be made out of this material for the longevity of our building. And there's millions of jobs right now running to Saudi Arabia. And you guys probably heard of NIOM, this is the wall seating, right?
Yes.
They're picking up 98% of their individuals right here from Pakistan. Why? It's because Pakistanis are hardworking individuals, they're bilingual, they're able to speak English and the local language, and a lot of them have the capability of speaking a tri-language, 3 different languages. So you guys are the cream of the crop right now. The whole world is focusing on Pakistan because of the 224 million people in Punjab. You guys don't have any jobs here. The United States and the United Nations wants to put individuals like you to work. But we can't put you guys to work and teach you the same routine over and over, and then what ends up happening, you guys go back to square one again. We need it. Change has to happen tomorrow. We cannot wait. Because within the next 10 years, if the jet stream changes, you guys will end up staying like this year round, which it already has changed. I think the last gentleman that was standing here had some statistics on the upper atmosphere. So, basic achievement that you guys want to have at each facility or at each location or each Adara is becoming carbon neutral. We don't want to have an output of carbon dioxide. Even if you're doing, let's say, cooking at the house, you're creating carbon. So for every pound of carbon you put out, you want to put out at least 1 to 2 trees per year to offset that. That would be a proper goal that I would put for myself as an individual. There's an implementation across various sectors of Pakistan that requires ISO, the federal government bodies, the Ministry of Development Special Initiatives, the Ministry of Industries, Production, and the Ministry of Energy. These are all ministries that actually require ISO individuals as we speak, right today. And there are jobs being opened up in those sectors. And if you guys are young, I would actually think about stepping into that if you're unemployed and looking for a job. Ministry of Climate Change, MOCC, is aggressively working with individuals like you in the Education Department, the Agriculture Department, and a handful of other ministries that should change the outlook of Pakistan. You guys are now becoming aware of how bad the situation is due to the upper management, upper echelon of your ministries and government and your president finding out now. Everybody's now running towards an area with what I call green finance. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Here's some of the other ministries that are involved right now currently, and these are the ISO individuals, the areas that we are actually doing training in for these individuals, and they will be sitting in the government positions. These are regulatory bodies. NEPRA, you guys probably know these are the pretty big names. That's one example. PAC, EPA, which we talked about earlier. Federal Board of Revenue, FBR. And the FBR will be also involved in the future. You guys will see them involved directly with the Green Initiative. Why? Because the Green Initiative that you guys are actually pushing towards eventually has a dollar value behind it. For every pound of carbon dioxide you guys offset, there's a certain amount of dollars behind it. So the government will be, in the next year, asking these individuals to come forward. Now, if all you professionals that are sitting here, maybe the front row, back third row, these are the areas that they'll be looking for right now. And I'm in direct conversation with Asad Gilani, which is the Secretary of the Prime Minister. Municipality and local bodies all have to be involved. There's another area right there that needs to be covered. International partnerships. Once you guys start doing SDG goals and start getting a baseline of where your AQI is, where your temperatures are, and this wonderful initiative that Sabrina has done with Synergy, doing monetization of your complete locations across Punjab and the other areas, let's say Lahore, Sindh area, then you got the northern area. Once you get all that data combined, then you guys can take some of this information and get some exchange or money back from the UN regulatory bodies that actually give money for auditing and implementation of SDG goals, pretty much. The private sector needs to be engaged. Commerce, partnerships, all textile companies and mills all have to be ISO certified, which they are now. At this point now, all large textile manufacturing is ISO certified by 9001 and 14001. If you're not, you won't be able to open your doors after 2025. This is your last year. Policy alignments, building capacity. I'm not going to really get into too much because this will be kind of going in circles. These are the 4 areas that need to be engaged immediately. If you guys don't engage in monetization initiatives, building capacity initiatives, why would somebody actually put a monetization in their house, for example? What initiative are we giving our people to monitor air quality? That's where either private companies can step in or local universities can step in, help individuals and give them the technology or allow them to actually do a baseline at their location and feed that information over to somebody like Synergy and allow them to compile that data and bring it to market. GDP growth, exports, these are basically numbers that we are expecting by the end of this year, Pakistan will be hitting. Because Pakistan has to be ISO certified by the end of this year. So these are the numbers that you will see climbing. And that means a substantial amount of income.
These parameters are same for developed countries and developing countries, or they can be changed. Like for developing countries, I think there should be some relaxation regarding different parameters. So,
well, the World Bank, if the World Bank is involved or the IMF is involved, it's going to be standardized. There is no time limit. 2025 was our cutoff line.
Okay. So, but regarding this different parameters and limits of these parameters, is it like UN can give a favor to these developing countries that this is the cutoff for the developed countries and for developing countries this is the bottom line? Is there any kind of difference of policy making between
the policies actually were already signed with the Paris Climate Agreement. We ignored it. Pakistan as a country ignored it until the last second. 2025 is when we were supposed to do all that work in 2017. We didn't. Now we are in a bad position. We need to bring out 50,000 ISO individuals in different sectors. We're talking about in pharmacy, aviation, we're talking about health, we're talking about environmental, we're talking about IT, we're talking about even government areas like the ports, right? Your ports that come, all the goods that come into the port have to have an ISO individual accepting the goods coming in, knowing what the carbon output of that vessel was before it hit our shoreline. So then we tax them according to that carbon output. This is a revenue stream for the government. See, the government's always trying to look at ways to tax us people, right? But there's other ways to bring revenue in instead of taxing the people. Tax the industry. Tax who's creating the actual CO2. And a lot of CO2 is not created by the average individual. It's mostly created by large corporations that are going to be looking at you guys to offset some of that.
So, do you have kind of data that which department is, on a forefront of getting this ISO certification in Pakistan?
Actually, all the departments will be required. All the departments, every single ministry department will require an ISO individual,
yes.
14001 in their facility. by this year. It'll be it's already been mandated. You guys already wrote that law in 2017. I wish I had it. Did you have it right now? Okay. We actually pulled it out from your law books.
So if Pakistan is not going to have this ISO certification, then what are
we cut off the power. It's really that simple.
I hope we will get some relaxation.
Yeah, that's a scary part. There's no they
Dr.
asked the
Saab,
government.
probably आपके stats change होने वाले हैं because if the power is going to get cut, फिर तो वापस to burning होने वाले हैं हम सब.
तो
तो
कोयला जलाएंगे.
हाँ जी, फिर यही करेंगे, कोयला जलाएंगे या लकड़ियाँ इकट्ठी करेंगे.
I want to know that which department actually he has got this ISO certification. I mean according to your stats, like our health department or education department that you have mentioned.
The health department, for example, every individual in the health department that's making major decisions in the pharmaceutical industry or in the doctors' lives is ISO certified right now. But they don't have enough of these individuals. There's a big gap. I'll give you a small example. 7,000 doctors graduate per semester out of our university before per year. 7,000 doctors. And those 7,000 doctors are not guaranteed a job out there. They are not, they're looking still. I see a lot of them driving iDrive or a lot of them doing food pandas.
They're not ISO certified?
Pardon me?
They're not ISO certified by the university?
The last batch, we're not. Now we are making sure that every student is ISO certified so they can walk out of their institution and have a job. So the amount of money that parents have put in, 1 crore or whatever fees they put in, is at least returned in some way. They are walking right into the job market, either here or abroad.
No, how it will help to get a job ISO certification?
ISO certifications come from Geneva. There's a body in Geneva that certifies individuals that you basically meet the standards that have been set by the UN or ISO basically has set in the previous, like MOCC for example.
Okay, then university will have to, consider those parameters as well for the education institute, what they have set for.
Yeah, Lahore University is a prime example. I don't have some of the data there, but we are going to be probably the first university that will go carbon neutral by the end of this year. So we will not be putting out any carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We've surpassed that point where we're actually going carbon neutral.
So UOL is ISO certified already?
Yes. We have approximately 34 individuals on the location that are 14,000 and
Very
more
interesting.
certified and 9,000 more certified. Looking at 2 of them right here. So
Okay,
he's
great.
one of the lead auditors that's working for me. He's actually the director of AIC, which
Okay.
runs the ISO program.
Very nice.
That's basically it. That's my email address, and that's Jawad Khan. That's I'm gonna introduce you guys. I'm gonna let him talk maybe 1 minute, and then that's basically it. Any questions?
Haji, I think we can take once he's done, then we can do the Q&A quickly, looking at the time we are left with.
Just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Jawad Khan. I'm currently working as a director at UOL. So let me explain this last slide. Whatever he was asking, कि अगर हम नहीं करेंगे continue तो क्या होगा? Like you can just take all these 4 points and just convert it. तो उसमें आप वो obviously बात देख सकते हैं कि जितना भी हमारा GDP growth है वो किसी भी जगह पे नहीं जाएगा. क्योंकि अगर मैं ISO की ओवरऑल एक बात करूँ, इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. जिस तरह उस टाइम ये अक्सर बात कर रहे थे कि व्हेन यू वर आउटसाइड एंड आप अपनी चीज़ों को या गाड़ियों को अगर लेके जा रहे थे तो कौन बंदा वहाँ पे एक इंस्पेक्ट कर रहा था किस चीज़ को और कैसे कर रहा था कि वो प्रॉपर था भी या नहीं था. पाकिस्तान के अंदर मोस्ट ऑफ द जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के अंदर आके रुक जाती हैं. ISO मेक्स श्योर ऑफ इट कि जो भी आपने बेसिकली डिसाइड किया अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स के अंदर हम उसको 100% इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकें. So this is where our country as a whole is lacking. वो उसमें अगर हम अगर गवर्नमेंट की बात करें या किसी इंडिविजुअल की बात करें तो more or less it's the same side of the story. और उसमें हम कहीं नहीं जा रहे हैं, हम बेसिकली हम इट्स अराउंड अबाउट और हम उसके घूम रहे हैं। तो हमारा जो मेन फोकस है इस प्रोग्राम से जो हमने लॉन्च किया वो भी यही है कि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जो हमारा इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी है वो पाकिस्तान के अंदर है, उसमें ये कि खाली मुल्क नहीं ही ग्रो करता, उसमें उसके लोग एक्चुअल में प्रॉस्पर होते हैं जब मुल्क ग्रो करता है। ग्लोबल जो कम्पेटिटिवनेस है वो ऑब्वियसली बात है, जिस तरह हमारी यहाँ पे जो मोस्ट ऑफ द बिजनेसेस हैं जो कि एक्चुअल में अपनी हायर एक्सपोर्ट्स की तरफ जाना चाहते हैं, दे विल बी एबल टू डू दैट। हमारी इसमें जो फिस्कल स्ट्रेंथ है एज अ टैक्स रेवेन्यूज वो भी इंक्रीज होगा। हालांकि अगर आपको पता होगा लास्ट ईयर भी अभी इन्होंने सबसे ज्यादा इस दफा टैक्स कलेक्ट किए हैं, लेकिन स्टिल इट्स नॉट इनफ टू एक्चुअली रन द कंट्री। दैट्स व्हाई वी आर ऑलवेज लाइक loaning money from IMF just to run our programs and pay our salaries, which is very sad at the same time. Sustainability obviously हमारा at the end of the day goal है, what we are actually trying to implement is the SDG goals which are total 17. 18th one आ चुका हुआ which is going digital in every single field. So this is what we are actually trying to achieve in Pakistan, कि जितने भी और किसी भी किस्म के मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम्स हैं वो सारे एक प्रोसेस के अंदर आके और हम उसको जब प्रोसेस के अंदर डाल दें तो वो हमेशा मेक श्योर हो कि यस जो भी बंदा उसको लुक आफ्टर कर रहा है वो 100% कंप्लायंस चल रहा हो। उसमें हमने कुछ प्रोपोजिशंस भी दिए कि इवन जब आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं और अगर आपने इवन लेन भी अपनी कट की है तो उसके ऊपर जो AI कैमरा एक्चुअल में आपका फाइन करेगा वो 1 लाख रुपए से ऊपर हो सकता है, ठीक है। अगर आप सिगरेट बाहर फेंक रहे हैं गाड़ी से तो वो 50,000 रुपए तक भी फाइन आपको जा सकता है। तो ये चीजें एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जाहिर बात है कि वो हमारे अपने भले के लिए। अब अगेन पाकिस्तानी अवाम थोड़ी सी ऐसी है कि हमें ये फील होता है कि हमें डंडा चाहिए, तो वो फिर जब डंडा अब आने वाला है इस साल के एंड पे तो वो फिर सारा चेंज लेके आएगा इंशाल्लाह। लेट्स सी एंड इंशाल्लाह लेट्स होप फॉर द बेस्ट फॉर पाकिस्तान इंशाल्लाह। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to end this seminar with a second part. Like I said, we're going to have a short panel discussion / Q&A session.